Hello, welcome back to Hot Girls Can't Drive. I'm your host, Bree, and happy Thanksgiving or before Thanksgiving, depending on when you're watching this. I'm currently filming this on the Sunday before Thanksgiving. I'm back home now. I flew back home to Maryland, so welcome to my childhood bedroom. If you're on YouTube, this is my bed. Uh, I never had like a headboard or anything, so it's just the pillow. And then these are all pictures of me and my friends from high school, which I never took down. It's still up here from I think I put this up during COVID 2020. And I was looking at this the other day and I was looking at this and I realized that there's still pictures of my ex-boyfriend on here from high school, which is actually so embarrassing. And I don't even know how I didn't notice that before now. But yeah, that's a little awkward. And I was watching this TikTok and it was talking about how it's kind of funny because when you go back home to your parents' house, you never have any clothes. So it's just all of your old high school clothes that you wear around, which is so relatable because when I moved to Miami, I brought literally all of my clothes with me because I'm a clothes hog. I only wear the same 5 t-shirts once a week, but I just felt like I need to bring all my clothes. So I don't have any clothes in Maryland except for the clothes that I brought from Miami. And then I have all my high school clothes. So I was looking through my closet of all my old clothes from high school. And it's old softball jerseys, old high school sweatshirts and stuff. And then all my old HOCO dresses and stuff. So this I wanted to put on because I wanted to see if it still fit me. But this is my freshman year HOCO dress. And my freshman year, I didn't even go to my own homecoming. I went to my friend's homecoming that was at a different high school because I didn't have any friends freshman year that went to my school. So yeah, this is from Windsor and I was surprised it still fit me. I was kind of having trouble getting it on, but it fit. Looking back, I would never wear this dress now, but I'm glad it still fits because I was gonna cry if I couldn't fit into it. So yeah, this was it. But I guess kind of what's been going on every single time I film a podcast or I guess record a podcast, I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, I didn't record an episode last week. My episode recordings are so inconsistent because I talked about this in the last podcast episode, but I've been really busy. Ever since fall break, when I record the episode with Grace, I've literally had something every single weekend, and I normally I told myself I was going to record these episodes on Sundays, but most Sundays have been so busy for me. Last Sunday or last weekend, I went to St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands with University of Miami Club Swimming, and I swam 2 miles, and that was honestly a whole story within itself. St. Croix is always anytime I go on a trip with Club Swim, it's always such an event. Something always goes down, and when I was swimming the 2 miles, that's the longest I've ever swam, period. Open water swimming, pool swimming, I've never swam 2 miles consecutively, and it was rough for me. Basically, people were saying the water wasn't that choppy. I felt that the water was pretty choppy. I kept swimming and then going towards where I was supposed to be going, and the waves kept pulling me back. And I get motion sick. I've always gotten motion sick. So as soon as I started the race and I got out to the middle of the ocean, I immediately knew at some point I was gonna throw up because the waves were rocking me too much, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna throw up. It's inevitable. It happened to a girl that swam the 2 mile last year, and I was like, it's gonna happen. So for the majority of the race, I was swimming by myself. I mean, there was some kayakers that were telling me where to go. There was this old man in a kayak that followed me the entire race because he felt bad because I was really struggling. But anyways, he followed me the whole time, but most of the time I was by myself. And at one point I stopped and asked the old man on the kayak, I was like, am I the last one? Because usually when there's a kayaker following you during the open water race, it's because you're the last one, because there's always one person that's on like a kayak or a boat that's like running the race that's instructed to follow the last person. So I asked him, I was like, am I the last one? Because he was following me, but he was like, no, you're not. But I had no idea like where I was in the race, where everybody else was. Most of the kids on the UM Club Swim team did the 1 mile, but there was only 3 of us, including myself, that did the 2 mile. And so I lost my friend Catherine. So I didn't know where she was. I didn't know where I was. And they told us, okay, when you get to the yellow buoy, turn and you have like 500 meters left and then you're done. So my dumbass forgot that there's 2 yellow buoys. So I see the first yellow buoy and I'm like, oh my God, like this is a breeze. Like I'm chilling. So I swim to the first yellow buoy and I realized that the first yellow buoy is just the 1 mile marker. It's not the turnaround point, which meant I was only halfway done. And when I got to the yellow buoy, I think I was just like so like mentally tired at that point, because open water swimming is like a lot of like mental toughness, because you can't listen to music, you can't talk to anyone, you can't look around, you're literally just looking at like the ocean water, I guess. So anyways, I get to the first buoy and I think I like realize like how tired I was and how nauseous I was, and I immediately throw up in the ocean in front of the boat that was there to like give out water, in front of the old kayak guy that was following me, and then in front of this old couple that was swimming the 1 mile, because the 2 mile people passed the 1 mile people because we all finished at the same place. So that was really embarrassing. And so then I throw up in front of this old couple in the water that are like swimming really slow because they were only swimming the 1 mile. And they were like, hey, sweetie, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, even though I like wasn't okay. And the old couple was actually so clutch because they were so nice. And they ended up like starting a whole conversation with me in the middle of this fucking race in the middle of the ocean. And they were like, oh, like, where are you from? How are you doing? After I just thrown up, and I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm swimming the 2 mile for the University of Miami. And then the old guy, he was like, oh yeah, I just swam 16 miles in like Almeralda or something like that. I'm just swimming the 1 mile with my wife and to connect with the ocean. I was like, okay, brag. Like, okay, go off, Miss like Queen. Like, I always feel like there's always so many old people that do these like insane open water races, and I'm always like, girl, bye. If they can do it, I should be able to do it. So that was a little embarrassing because he's just like over here swimming the 1 mile for fun. And then he was like, oh, I just swam 16 miles. I was like, okay, that's actually not making me feel better. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm just like really nauseous right now. Again, the entire time we're talking, I'm literally just treading water in the middle of the motherfucking ocean. And he's like, what do you mean, sweetie? Like, where else would you rather be? We're like in the Caribbean. Like, this is so beautiful. Like, what do you mean? Like, and I was like, girl, bye. I'd actually rather not be in the middle of the ocean right now. Like, when he was like, where else would you rather be right now? Like, this is beautiful. I was like, maybe not in the middle of the ocean. Like, I don't know, maybe on the shore. Not in the middle of the ocean right now because I'm nauseous. So anyways, I remember after I'm done talking to them, I'm like, oh, I actually have a race. Like, I'm actually racing people right now. So I finished talking to them, throw up again, throw up a second time. And then I'm like, well, I could either get on the boat right now, which means I'm disqualified. I can't finish the race. And when you get on the boat, you have to stay on the boat until everyone finishes their race. So it's not gonna make me. I was like, it's not gonna make me feel any better if I get on the boat right now because I'm just gonna be more seasick. So I'm better off just swimming the rest and finishing this race. So that's what I do. I finished the rest of the 2 mile. It ended up being fine. My time, I was actually really happy with my time considering I added like 5 minutes just talking to these old people in the middle of the ocean. But I wasn't like the last 2 miler to finish. I came in second in my race. There was only 2 people in my age group, but you know what? I'll take it. I'll take the bragging rights. I can tell people I came in second. Um, and yeah, so I kind of slayed it. I'm honestly proud of myself for finishing, especially since that was like, I honestly wasn't like I wasn't super exhausted at the end. Like physically, I probably could have swam like longer than that, but it was a lot because I got sick. Like I think if I hadn't gotten sick, I would have been like, oh yeah, I slayed that. But I didn't because I got sick. So, anyways, that was what happened last weekend in St. Croix. And then I kind of just chilled, whatever. And then I came here, I came home. And whenever I come home, it's always so weird to me now since I like moved away for college. It's just like a different vibe now, like coming home, like seeing all these old people from high school. It's like so awkward now when I like go to Target and like see someone I know from high school and I'm like, am I supposed to say hi to them? Or like what's the vibe? And then I like see all this old stuff in my childhood bedroom and it like gives me flashbacks, it gives me some PTSD for my embarrassing moments because I was so awkward in high school, like actually so awkward in high school. Like I said, this was like my childhood bedroom, but honestly, it's not. I'm in the basement right now, but my childhood bedroom like was actually like upstairs in my house, and that's where I like the room that I like grew up in or whatever. But when I was a sophomore in high school, my grandma moved in with us, and we had to get a stair lift for her because she couldn't do the stairs. So we got a stair lift leading upstairs. So she ended up taking over my room. So I had to move into the basement. So my room is like huge. Like there's two beds in here. This is the other bed. This is my room tour if you're on YouTube. But this is the other bed. I have two beds in here. Hey. And it's like not even supposed to be a bedroom. Like before we had like a flat screen TV and the couch in here. So like I don't actually have a closet. My closet is literally just like a clothing rack that we used to use for my sister's musicals. It's right there. It's kind of messy in here, sorry, but that's like my closet. And then I have a bathroom down here, but it's like not a full bathroom, like it doesn't have a shower or anything. So it's a vibe down here. There's like a back door down here. So like honestly, somebody could like live down here and never have to go upstairs. If we like I told my mom, I was like, you should rent the bottom of the like the basement out and just like install a shower so they have a full bathroom. And like this basement is so big, you could put like a kitchen down here and stuff. Like I could be slaying. This bedroom is huge, but it's not like my childhood bedroom, if that makes sense. This is like my high school bedroom. Hence this picture collage that I put up during COVID. Don't look at that picture. Don't look at it. I need to take these pictures down. That's actually so embarrassing. I was like looking because I literally like I don't really look at these pictures anymore, but I was like looking at it the other day and I was like, oh, don't talk to that person anymore. Don't like that person. Hate that person. Like whatever, like I don't talk to any of those people anymore. So it's a little awkward. I need to like put up some college pictures. With all my college friends. But I'm just kind of ranting today. I don't really have like a plan to talk about specific things. Or right before I started filming this episode, I just finished watching the show Normal People that was on Hulu. And that show was actually so upsetting and traumatizing to me. And literally, you guys could have warned me. Like, someone could have been like, hey, like, don't watch that show. It's really gonna, like, break you. But nobody told me. I just, like, was, like, looking for shows to watch. And then this TikTok comes up about the show Normal People. And I was like, oh, that looks like a cute show. Like, I was looking for something to watch. So I just started watching it. And that show is so frustrating and like so upsetting and depressing, but also so like addicting that I probably should have like stopped. I wanted to stop watching it multiple times because so basically there's like two characters in the show and they ended up like falling in love and then they like weave in and out of each other's lives. So like they'll like break up and then like move on and then there'll be like a time jump to like a couple months or a couple years later and then they run into each other again and they end up starting a relationship again and it's like on and off for like so long. And part of the whole reason why they like didn't stay together was because both characters are like the worst communicators I've ever met. Like there's literally barely any dialogue between them and half the time the reason why they break up is because they won't use their words to tell each other how they feel. And as someone who is like a master communicator, like I communicate a lot. Hence why I have this podcast. Like I'm not scared to talk about my feelings. So as someone who talks a lot, to watch these two people literally break up over the silliest things because they wouldn't just like talk to each other was actually so frustrating. I like wanted to yell at my screen. I was like, oh my god, you guys are, it was so frustrating. But I just kept watching it because I was like, okay, well now I need to see if they're gonna get back together. And then the end, not to spoil it, but it was really upsetting because it's so realistic to like real life. But I'm used to shows like having a happy ending. So the fact that and it's only one season, it's like after a book, but the fact that the show has like a realistic ending and not a happy ending, I'm like, goodbye. I wasted all my time watching all 12 episodes of this season just for it to end like that. Like, are you kidding me? And I was like looking like online afterwards, being like, ending explain normal people ending explain because I have no idea what the heck just happened. And apparently like there's a lot of like underlying themes or like unspoken like Easter eggs, I guess, or like details that like you're supposed to like apparently it's supposed to be very analytical, like you're supposed to analyze all the episodes. And like, somebody on Reddit was like, you could have like a 1 hour discussion about this one scene and how important it is to the plot or something like that. Usually when I watch a show, I'm consuming it for like entertainment because I'm bored, and I like to like watch shows in the background while I'm doing other things because I like background noise. I'm not watching a show to like analyze every 5 minutes of every episode because it is important to like the characters develop. Like, I don't know. I took AP Lang. I got a 5 on that test. I don't need to be analyzing shit like that anymore. Like explaining the plot, the setting, the climax, the resolution. Like I'm not really into shows like that. But I guess if you are, the show's like really good apparently. Like apparently it won an Emmy or something. I honestly didn't think that it was that good. Like I felt like there were a lot of slow points, but apparently it's supposed to be important to the plot, which whatever, say whatever you want. For me, I was just frustrated the whole time because these characters like just wouldn't talk to each other. But it was also like really realistic, and I understand how people like it because I definitely could see some like parallels between these characters and myself in my life, because there's definitely been people, and like platonically and romantically, that I felt like have um like been in my life for like a little bit, and like I always just thought they were going to be there forever, and then I've like looking back and realized like they were just there to like help me grow, but they weren't necessarily meant to be in my life forever. And there's definitely been people who have like come into my life and then like left for whatever reason and come back, and I always felt like we were like meant to be together forever. um but then like looking back, I realized that like we were actually never meant to be together, and it always felt like the universe was like setting us up to be together, because I just kept coming back into my life like after periods of like literally not talking to them. And then like looking back, I've realized that we were never going to be together, but it was really hard for me to accept because there are definitely certain times in my life where I was like, oh, yep, we're going to be together forever, like romantically and platonically, just like with friendships. Um, and so like I've definitely had to like learn how to like close chapters in my life and like learn how to move on. And like there's been some people who have like tried to enter back into my life after like being gone for so long, and it's taken a lot for me to like understand that I need to protect my peace, period. And like I need to like not keep continuously letting them back in to like just get hurt again, because at some point like you just have to accept that they serve their purpose in your life, and now you've grown enough to like understand that it's time to like let them go and let the idea of them go and let the idea of the future with them go. And that took me so long to understand, and it wasn't until I like moved away where I forced myself away from those relationships to realize like, okay, like it's time for me to accept that um we were never gonna be successful even if we had been together. Like no matter what point of my life that they would like enter back into, it was never gonna end the way that I wanted it to end. And that's like really emotional because were specific people that I like grew up with, that I've known my entire life, and I really was convinced like, yep, they're gonna be in my life forever. Like, and so for me to realize like that just wasn't their purpose, like that the universe didn't put them in my life to be there forever, and I kept trying to force them back in because they wanted to be back in my life and I wanted them to be back in my life. And I've realized like I just have to stop forcing it. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But like if they're just willing to like just leave whenever they want, like I'm not dealing with that bad energy. So we're just not going to do it anymore. And that was so hard for me to accept. But now that I've accepted it, I feel so much better about it. And now I've learned to like be okay with saying no to people when they try to like enter back into my life. If that makes sense. That was kind of a tangent. So I guess normal people did teach me something, which honestly I already knew before the show, but um whatever. It was a good show. I'll admit it. I'll admit it was a good show, but it's really depressing. So, like, if you're already in your feels, don't go watch that show, Miss Girl, because it'll make you feel worse about yourself. I don't even. That was like a whole tangent. Again, when I talk about relationships, like, it's not all romantic. There's also like friend relationships too that I'm talking about. So don't be trying to get the wrong idea. Don't be getting the wrong idea about Bree Fish. Anyways, I guess I would recommend that show. But you have to be in a specific frame of mind for that. You have to be in a specific frame of mind for that show. Whenever I come back home I always kind of like think back to all of my embarrassing moments growing up and cringe specifically in like middle school and high school because I was like extremely cringy in middle school and high school. Like I where did I even start? Like my freshman and sophomore year of high school, I like had zero friends. Like honestly, it was literally just me and Amanda, one of my best friends, Amanda, and that was literally it. Like she was the only one I would ever hang out with or talk to in school. Like I had no friends because I was like so like awkward, and it wasn't even that I was socially awkward. Like I've always been extremely extroverted. It was just that like I was like a nerd. And so nobody wanted to be friends with me because I dressed weird and I was really cringy, which like looking back is like so valid. Like I don't know if I would have been friends with me back then, but you know, character development is important. And I'd like to think that I had a glow up. I like to tell myself that. I definitely had a glow up like in COVID for some reason. I had like a hella glow up. And then I kind of glowed back down because I had to humble myself. So I glowed back down. And now I feel like I've kind of been glowing up again. I don't know. I don't know. But I like wrote down some things that were like extremely cringy about me and my personality back in high school because it was actually so embarrassing. And middle school. Middle school is probably worse actually. But I had more friends in middle school, which doesn't really make any sense. But I'm also sick right now. If you can't tell, I sound a little congested. I always get sick whenever I travel. I don't know why. I think it's like airplanes. I need to like start wearing a mask. But one of the things I have written down that I did that was super cringy was my Shawn Mendes obsession. And this was like a craze. Like if you think back to when you were in elementary school and you were like all the girls were like super obsessed with Justin Bieber. I did not have a Justin Bieber obsession. I was obsessed with Shawn Mendes in middle school and high school to the point where I would walk around telling everyone that I was going to get married to Shawn Mendes, and I literally knew everything about him. Like I know like now I know all these random facts about Shawn Mendes. Normal people should not know, but it was because I was so obsessed with him, and I literally had a Shawn Mendes shrine in my room where I had pictures of him on the wall, and I like it was bad. Like I had Shawn Mendes shirts, I had a Shawn Mendes keychain. I'd walk around being like, "Oh, I'm gonna get married to Shawn Mendes." Like I'm convinced that if Shawn Mendes had pulled up to my school and he asked me to marry him, I would have said yes. At 13 years old, I would have said yes because I was that in love with him. And I don't know if I talked about this, but I have a list of men that if they pulled up and asked me to marry them like right here right now, I would say yes, no questions asked. It's in my notes app. I think it's literally called Men Who I Would Marry No Questions Asked. And on it is Shawn Mendes. He'll forever be on there. Shawn Mendes, if you ever see this, you can always ask me to marry, you'll always say yes. I think Joe Burrow's on there. Any other celebrities? No. So everyone else on the list are actual real life people who would actually potentially see this, so I'll never say their names. Tanner knows who they are though. Shout out Tanner, my best friend Tanner. He knows, but no one else does. But Shawn Mendes and Joe Burrow, if they ever pull up, I'd always say yes. If they pulled up to my bedroom right now, if they walked in right now and they said, Bree Fish, will you marry me? I would say yes, queen, and I'd leave with him, no questions asked. So yeah, I had a crippling, and honestly, it quieted down, but it'll never go away. Like I know all of his songs by heart. And it's a little embarrassing. And nowadays he's like not really in any of my Spotify playlists because I think I listen to his music so much. But my Shawn Mendes addiction kind of stopped my freshman year of high school. I saw him because he had the Wonder Tour. If you're a Shawn Mendes fan, you know what I'm talking about. That was the last tour I went on. Or no, it wasn't the Wonder Tour. It was the Shawn Mendes EP tour, like with all the roses and the flowers. And then I tried to go to his Wonder Tour, and that's the one he canceled. And then I kind of just stopped listening to him. Now I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, but back then I was definitely addicted to Shawn Mendes, and it was a little bit embarrassing. Um, And I honestly, like, as I'm talking, I can see the leftovers of the Shawn Mendes thrine in my bedroom that I never took down. There's a book up there that my mom got me from Amazon. There's a rose from his show, and then there's pictures of me from his show that I saw. So Shawn Mendes, love you. Another thing that, like, I was thinking about that's, like, super embarrassing about me from high school was that I, like, never really learned how to do makeup. I still don't know how to do makeup, but when I was in my freshman and sophomore year of high school, I had really bad acne, like, all over my face. So my solution for my acne was just to cover my whole face in a coating of Tarte foundation, like a really thick coating. So whenever I look back at old pictures of myself from like freshman, sophomore year, my face is like extremely pale because I never had the correct color. I always got like a light color, and it's just a coating of foundation. And honestly, like, I probably still would not be good at makeup. I'm still not, but probably still would be cringy like that, except for when COVID happened, I stopped wearing makeup. So then my acne cleared up. So then I stopped putting on so much foundation. But it's so cringy looking back onto these old pictures of myself because I'm just coated in a layer of very pale Tarte foundation. And I realized that it was kind of like a toxic cycle for me in like middle school and high school because my acne would be really bad, so I would put makeup on top of it to cover it up, but then the makeup was what caused my acne to break out. So it was this endless cycle of covering up my acne and then it breaking out because of it. So it honestly didn't stop till COVID when I just stopped wearing makeup because I wasn't leaving my house, that it finally went away. But it was rough. It was really rough. And picture, like, even some of these pictures, let me see if I can find one. If you're on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, you can't see these, but I'm trying to see if I can find one. Here's one. Pulling it off the wall. This is my friend Victoria. I won't expose you, Queen. But if you can see how pale I was, like, it was like that's literally all foundation on my face. It was really bad. And like looking back, I did have friends that like told me like, hey, like you're putting on way too much foundation, but I literally didn't know any other way to cover it up. And still to this day, like I still don't know how to do makeup, but my acne's gone down enough where I'll just put concealer like over the acne. So then it's like not all over my face, but it used to be so bad and it was so cringy. Another thing that was really cringy, but that was also like out of my control is I used to get hurt a lot in like middle school and high school. I had a lot of knee problems. I finally got knee surgery, so it got better, but for a while my knee was like constantly dislocating all the time. And it's better now because I got knee surgery. But for a while, I was that girl that would wear a knee brace on top of my jeans. Like, you've seen those cringy TikToks that making fun of those girls that would wear a knee brace like every day on top of their jeans. And I was that girl, but I swear, like, I seriously wasn't like wearing it to like get attention or anything. I actually hated wearing it because I felt like people were like making fun of me about it. But my knee would dislocate so often that I was always in a knee brace. And like it would dislocate and it would dislocate, like whenever I dislocate it would just pop right back in. TMI, sorry if that's cringy. I would wear it for like 3 days and then it would feel fine. Like it would feel like a little sore or like unstable. Like my kneecap would feel a little unstable for like a couple days. And then I wouldn't need to wear the brace anymore. So kids at school were always like, why are you wearing a brace for like 3 days and not wearing it again? Because I didn't understand, like I was dislocating my knee all the time. So I know when kids from my middle school see TikToks about girls that wear knee braces over their jeans for attention and as accessories in middle school, I know they think of me. But I'm telling you right here, right now, that I did not have a choice because my knee was actually so unstable. And then in eighth grade, I was in dance class because in eighth grade we had like a dance teacher there and you could take dance as like one of your gym electives. So I took dance. So basically, picture I'm in eighth grade, I'm doing this test. We had to like memorize this, like we had to make up like a dance routine and perform it in front of the class for like a grade. So I'm in the middle of taking my test, and I went to go do like one of those like sassy little pivot turns. I pivot turn immediately, kneecap dislocates. But because I was doing a pivot turn, I break off a piece of bone in my kneecap. TMI. Sorry if this is grossing you out. Immediately fall to the ground, start screaming because I was like in so much pain. Everyone in my class just like sees this happening. And my dance teacher is like, girl, bye, like, stop crying. And I'm like, I literally can't, it hurts so bad. So they had to call the school nurse to come down to the, like, across the school to come get a wheelchair. They put me in the wheelchair and they wheeled me, like in front of all these kids' classrooms. Everyone saw me crying, to the nurse's office so they could call my mom to come get me. And we later found out that I needed surgery because I, like, broke off a piece of my kneecap. But it was really traumatic for me, and I later found out that it was really traumatic for the other kids in my dance class because they talked about it later. They were like, "Oh yeah, that was like really scary because I was like screaming so much that I think I like scared the other kids and traumatized them too." So if you're watching this and you were in my dance class, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. But I think when that happens, all the kids like realize I wasn't faking my knee injuries because like I obviously broke my knee. Like it was bad. And honestly, like, that whole knee surgery journey is a whole separate episode because that was so, like, traumatic in of itself, like, me having to go through physical therapy and stuff. But, like, that was so embarrassing and honestly such a cringy moment for me, like, looking back whenever I think about, like, embarrassing things in high school and middle school, but it's honestly, like, so funny now. And I've talked about other embarrassing things like in high school. Like I was in marching band for a year. I did speech and debate. Where is it? Me and my friend Brady, I did speech and debate sophomore year of high school, and then COVID happened junior year, and then I did it again senior year. And if you know anything about speech and debate, we competed in the National Catholic Forensic League, and we did duo interpretation of literature. So it was like me and Brady, and we acted out a script. And we actually ended up going to nationals in Washington, D.C. my senior year of high school, and we competed, and we didn't get very far, but it was really fun. And hold on, where's the picture? Oh, I don't even know I have this picture up, but this was from my first ever speech. I don't even know. This is such a bad picture, but this is me and Brady from our first ever, it wasn't his, but my first ever speech and debate competition. I think it was at Baltimore College. But that was like, I love speech and debate. I loved my teacher from speech and debate, but I think that's like stereotypically like a cringy thing. So I guess I don't think it was that embarrassing, but I think other people would tell me that was embarrassing. I also did swim in high school, which I also don't think is embarrassing, but I don't know. Y'all might think that being on varsity swim team is a little embarrassing. You tell me. I don't know. I don't really see any other embarrassing pictures of me on here. Oh, this is me. This is me and my friend Niall at church camp. Niles at church camp. We had to go to church camp for like a weekend in the fall. This would have been sophomore year of high school, so that was funny. I don't know if I have any other, like, I mean, obviously there's embarrassing people, but I don't know if there's any embarrassing pictures. I don't know. I kind of just think I was embarrassing. This is all my friends from all of my friends from middle school, we were like we call each other, that was when like the term squads were a thing, like, hey, get your girl squad. So we called each other the Squaw Squad. Literally just SQAU squaw and then squad. I don't even know. Don't even ask me. But I don't think they would care if I showed their picture. But these were all of my friends in our little girl squad in middle school. And I still try to keep in touch with most of them. Sam, our moms were super close. And then Lauren, she was my neighbor growing up. So I was super close with her too. But yeah, these are all my girlies from middle school. But I think I've been talking long enough, so I'll probably go ahead and end this podcast here. This was kind of chaotic, but I hope you have a really good Thanksgiving. I'm forcing my family, my sister, and my best friend Amanda. She's basically my third sister. I'm forcing them to go on a turkey trot with me. We're gonna do a 5K Thanksgiving Day, and then I think I'm flying back to Miami Sunday. So I don't know when I'm gonna record the next video. It might be while I'm still here. I don't know, but we'll see. So yeah, enjoy your break. Thanks for listening, and I love you. Bye.